Hello, this is Demetria. I'm showing you here how to make my favorite toe for toe-up socks. Um, we're starting with a um, with a Turkish custom, and I'm right now knitting into the first half of it. Now we're turning the needles around, and we're about to knit onto the second side. This will be leaving it in position to start the short row toe or heel. That can be done from the toe up or the top down, and in this case we are starting at the widest part of the foot on the top of the foot. So first we will determine how wide we want the tip of the toe to be. In this case I have 8 stitches, and I want the very top to be only 2 stitches because, well, we don't have much room. So what I just did there was knit to the 6th stitch, I mean 5th stitch, to a double knit, double stitch, German double stitch, like that, and then knit another stitch and do it the other side. I knit back and forth. I don't turn to the wrong side, so you can definitely see here what I'm doing without having to look at the purl side. The way this is working is we knit 1 stitch up on each side, turn around and go 1 more stitch, make a double stitch, turn around, etc. We just have to do it 3 times on each side because this is a very small sock. So there we're knitting together the double stitch, go 1 more, pull the yarn over the needle to the front on this, and then knit in the other direction. So that's the double stitch from the previous time. We're knitting it together. You would be purling them if you had turned around, and we go to the next one, put it back on the needle it came from, do the next double stitch and knit in the other direction. We're now almost done with this side, and once we get to the last stitch in each edge, we will be at the widest part of the toe, which would be the top, at the tips of the toes, and which means we will start making our short rows smaller. Sorry about the noises, that's my dog gnawing on a bone. It would be a lot louder if I took the bone away, trust me. So, as you can see, I'm getting out of the camera field. It's really hard to do this with the phone. Okay, so we're at the last stitch made its double stitch, and going back to the other side to start getting making this the rows shorter. So we did a double stitch on the stitch before the last. Now we're coming towards the right, and when we get to a double stitch we know to put the last stitch we need it back, so to make a double stitch on that one. So well, as we get smaller and smaller, as we go smaller and smaller, we're leaving one more double stitch on each side each time until we end up with only 2 stitches that don't have a double stitch. So now there is 1 and 2, and we're done with this part. Now we're gonna knit together all the double stitches on this side. As you can see, you have to knit them together so that they look like a knit on the front. Now we're gonna set up the needles to knit on the other side of the sock, because we are now done with the short rows. So now we're on the bottom of the sock, and we're gonna knit around to across the bottom of the sock. Now we're gonna turn around again, and we are gonna run into the double stitches that we didn't knit together on the right side of the toe, and we'll knit those together, making sure that we knit them together in the correct direction, which in this case would be towards through the back loops, like that. We should have 3 stitches here that are double stitches. Sorry about the knowing. So we knit around all the way to the other side, and we have a complete round off, and the toe itself is finished. We can keep going around and around to continue with the toe and the round. I'll continue with the sock until it's time to do something else, like start increasing for the gusset, or start the short row heel. So let's go one more time around.